We welcome in now a guest that we've been fortunate to have now for 3 straight weeks. What's that about? From SportsRageTV.com, Sports Rage on Twitter, and of the Fight Network as well. We welcome back to the show, Gabriel Morency. Hey, Gabriel, how you doing?
Always a pleasure, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. What are you watching? You got the Lakers on, or what are you watching?
Yeah, I've got a piece of the over in the Laker-Pelican game, and I took the Lakers when they were trailing in-game as well. Basketball usually takes precedence. I'll watch a big hockey game. I'll keep my eye on what's going on, but in the winter time, at least in the playoffs, I'm all in, and I'll watch every NHL playoff game. But for the most part, during the regular season, college basketball, NBA is the first choice for me, just because I find myself betting on basketball more than hockey.
I love the concept of in-game. Obviously, for people out there who don't know what you're talking about, is it something that you think gives you a bit of an edge because you're able to analyze the trends in a game well?
Well, you do have an edge with the in-game. Not that, an edge. It's not a very sharp edge. It's like a dollar store razor edge. There's an edge, but it softens up pretty quickly. But, typical, like with the National Football League game, then we always hear, man, the odds makers, how did they know that it was going to land at 53.5 and it landed at 54? Boy, are they ever sharp. Because they know what's going to happen. They've analyzed it. They've seen these teams play 100,000 times. In game, it's a little bit different. If you're actually watching the game and you notice a trend that's developing in the game, a classic example is with college basketball. They have a new rule this year in which they're trying to open it up offensively, but they can't because the kids are terrible. So even with the hand check fouls, but everything's a foul in college basketball right now. So when you see a game like that and you notice that certain officiating crews will call more fouls than others, therefore both teams are going to end up in a bonus quicker. Therefore, the game will actually go over. So if you're not watching the game, you won't really know that little intricacy to pick up on it. It's an art form, but in-game can be dangerous. I mean, it's an all-or-nothing gambling form. But I think the player does have a little bit more of an advantage than for a point spread for the entire game.
Gabe, you look at the NHL trade deadline that's approaching very rapidly, speaking here. In one word, how would you describe the Roberto Luongo saga and how it ended today?
Comical, and in a more serious tone. Kind of sad, the way that the Roberto Luongo was ultimately treated. It was almost as if though, the contract. Well, just because you sign a contract doesn't mean that you're going to get treated like crap for the last couple of years like he was. And what's just strange about this is Corey Schneider's a good goalie, and Lack is a good goalie, but I think Schneider's a better goalie. And you develop Schneider. You have that big controversy with Luongo. You play Schneider in the playoffs. You're developing this guy. You end up trading him to the Devils, and now ultimately you don't have Luongo or Schneider. And, truth be told, Ryan Kessler probably gets traded in the morning. And quite frankly, I don't have a whole hell of a lot of confidence that Gillis is going to do the right deal for the Vancouver Canucks. And, the Canucks were so close 2 times to winning, both times losing in Game 7, hitting a post once, and then the Game 7 meltdown against the Boston Bruins. They were just painfully so close that that's as close as it's going to be for a while now. The Vancouver Canucks are in a downward spiral right now. And, they trade, Kessler wants out. They're going to trade him. And then what do they have? They've got the Sedins who are broken down right now. I'm not going to say I feel sorry for Vancouver Canuck fans because they've had quite a glory run for the last couple of years. The organization has become one of the most profitable and, very similar to most Canadian franchises. And, I won't say the Western Canadian franchises. I think it's a little bit different. But Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto, Vancouver joined that elite group of Montreal and Toronto as far as marketing, merchandising, season ticket sales. The Canucks are a money machine down there at that Rogers Arena in Vancouver, and it'll be interesting to see how season ticket holders embrace the Canucks in coming years. And I think that they're going to back off a little bit. The Canucks are a pretty high market team. Their tickets are expensive. I think people in Vancouver are, after eating filet mignon for the last 4 or 5, 6 years, they're not going to appreciate Taco Bell, and that's what they're going to be getting.
Ugh. Upset stomach galore, huh?
Normally this NHL trade deadline, I always poke fun at everybody. They bring in 24 analysts and, the NHL trade deadline, and, who really cares, man? And, Ryan Whitney gets traded for the 13th time in his career, And these deals never amount to anything, and they make a big deal about it, and, this guy got traded, and, who cares? And it's such just an overhyped deal. It's almost a national holiday in Canada. But this year, it's actually pretty interesting and actually shocking. You look at the Buffalo Sabres stockpiling draft picks. They're definitely not done. They're going to move Molson in the morning. They're going to move Ehrhoff in the morning if they haven't already been dealt. And then, you got Marty Brodeur, who, and I know, if Wayne Gretzky could be traded, anybody could be traded. But I figured at this point, Marty would ride it out in New Jersey. But looks like Marty's on the block right now.
Yeah, and he did win tonight in his final game, potentially, for the Devils. But I wanted to get back to the Buffalo-St. Louis trade a couple of days ago. Halak, Miller, other pieces in that trade, of course. But how do you view St. Louis? They get a big win with Miller starting tonight, a 4-2 win. Do you view Miller as that much better than Halak? Do you view the Blues now as a Stanley Cup contender?
No, I don't, actually. The only thing, I think they're pretty equal, actually. I think it's psychological, though. It's almost like a placebo effect. If you take something, you believe you're actually feeling better, even though you're not. And I think that's just the case with the St. Louis Blues. But I will say this. Ryan Miller is more proven. He has more of a track record than Halak. Halak is good, but Halak is streaky. And as we've seen in the past in Montreal as well and in St. Louis, Halak has a hard time staying healthy. So I don't have a problem with it. You got to feel a little bit bad for Halak that he gets thrown out of the bus and sent to Buffalo right now. But ultimately, I think that the St. Louis Blues organization, the management, and the coaching staff just sleep a little bit better, knowing that they have somebody that hasn't been injury prone, isn't so streaky, is pretty consistent, and it's a pretty hungry goaltender in Ryan Miller.
Switching over to the NBA, big win tonight by the Thunder. We know how well that Miami's playing as well, and my thought.
Listen, man. You, me, and Mo, and Dwight Walton would have scored 42 tonight. It was the largest point spread of the season at 20.5 points. The Sixers, what can we say? As I stated, we could round up 5 guys and compete with that team right now.
Wow. All right. I appreciate it. I'm a shooting guard, so we'll see what we can do.
You're the center.
No, Mo's 6'4".
No, Dwight's 6'7".
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. But Marco Polo was sort of wanting to disagree with my thought earlier tonight, which was, do we really even need the playoffs? Isn't it going to be Miami and OKC in the final? And doesn't everybody you just want to see that? And he really is trying to make the case for the Pacers. Do you make the case for the Pacers?
No, I think that the NBA is. I think the playoffs are wide open right now in both conferences. Obviously, Miami starting to flex their muscle a little bit. They fell short tonight, to be expected. Starting to flex their muscle a little bit, though. Eastern Conference isn't a great conference, as we know. That's being kind. But I think the Pacers are pretty close. They'll probably fall short in painful fashion once again. But they're going to give Miami all they can handle. I tell you, the Chicago Bulls would give Miami all they can handle in the playoff. And as far as the Western Conference is concerned, San Antonio baffle me and frustrate me. But at the same point in time, they find a way to get it done in the playoffs. And we can't discount them. Oklahoma City, I've been a big Oklahoma City backer. I was living in Vegas. Oklahoma City probably have cost me, without an exaggeration, upwards of, maybe $50,000. I'm not even exaggerating. Thousands of dollars on games over the years in which I'm somewhat of an Oklahoma City fan. I'm starting to wonder about this team if they're not the Houston Texans of the NBA. They were close. They're flashy, but they don't win. They seem to get bullied a little bit. I'm buying the Clippers right now in the Western Conference. I think the Clippers are the real deal. They're dangerous as hell. The Chris Paul injury actually helped them. Blake Griffin's getting better every night. Jamal Crawford banged up right now, but Crawford's the man. He's instant points. I think that, the Clippers are actually a real dangerous team right now. So I think the Western Conference actually is pretty wide open with Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and the Los Angeles Clippers. And I'm actually leaning with the Clippers. I think the Clippers can actually make it to the finals this year.
Gabriel, where can people see you if they want to physically see you?
Well, we're all over the place right now, but we just launched today, fantasysportsnetwork.com. The show airs at 3 o'clock online. It'll be coming to your local cable company in the near future. And I tell you what, it looks great. We got great guests. We're not talking about rumors and, whether this guy's gay or not, and who's straight and who's gay. And, we're talking about numbers here. We're talking fantasy baseball. We're breaking down games. We're giving picks for the nightly board. You can check it out. It's free online, fantasysportsnetwork.com. You just got to register and sign up. Takes a couple of minutes, and you can rock and roll. The show plays 3 times over in the day. And as you stated, Matt, just check out Sports Rage TV.